All right, let's get into what's going on with the Clippers, man. I feel like the Lakers are getting a lot of the media attention for their poor start, and the Clippers are just kind of going under the radar without any repercussions. So I think it's time to give them a little bit of attention. All right, let's start with the elephant in the room, and that'll be Kawhi Leonard. He already has a pretty lengthy injury history. I think it's kind of a given that the rest of his career he'll be kind of low managing and sitting out games. So that was expected, but he's had over an entire year to sit out with this most recent injury, and he's still about to miss. At this point, he's already missed 3 games, and he's about to miss 3 more games because he's not even going on the road trip with the Clippers for the next 3. That's alarming. I think people talk about Anthony Davis all the time. I think they should talk about Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard in the same vein because they play about the same amount of games and get hurt just as frequently. So I'm not going to spend too much time on Kawhi, but I think that needs more attention in itself right there. Now, as a little bit of a cause and effect with Kawhi being out, Paul George, you would expect him to step up. He came out earlier this year and said, he understands he's the two, the second option on the team, which he is. But you can be the two, but you have to understand that when the one goes out, if they're on the bench, if they're not playing, if they're hurt, whatever that is, you're now the one. You have to approach the game as a one. He's been a one before. This should be no issue for Paul George, but he's not played like it so far this season. Looking at it right here, he's averaging 19 points this season with 6 rebounds and 4 assists. 19 points isn't that bad. They've got quite a bit of depth. You hear that and you're like, oh no, he's doing decent. He's not. He's shooting 38% from the field. He's had one good game, and that was a 40-point game against the Sacramento Kings, which they won by 2. If Paul George is giving you 40 with the depth that's on this team, and you're only winning by 2, Kawhi or no Kawhi, that's an issue. Um, it just overall has not been a good season for him. Either he's not shooting enough shots, or when he does shoot the shots, he's not making them. I'm looking at it right here. 2 times he shot 12 shots. Once he shot 11 shots. And then he shot 19 shots, but he was 5 and 19 in that game. And then he took 31 shots in the 40-point game. If you're the number one option, I don't care who else is on this team. You have to be putting up more shots than that and knocking them down. You have to be more efficient than this if you're going to be the number one while Kawhi is out. Um, that kind of transitions me into like the next part of this though, because I can't understand why he's not taking as many shots. And that's because of how many players and how much depth they have on this team, which a lot of people were praising them for coming into this season, which right now, and it sounds like a crazy thing to say, but I think they may have too much depth, and I think that that's something that rarely comes across, as an issue for teams, but I feel like for them that's kind of what it is right now. And I'll explain. Because essentially you want depth. You want people to come off your bench and be able to produce. But they have so many players. They really go like 12 or 13 deep of people who could legitimately get minutes on other teams in the league. But when you have so many players who need touches and who are used to having a steady diet of minutes, they're usually used to playing 25 to 30 minutes, and you're playing them 20 minutes and they don't really get a feel for the game. They hit 1 or 2 shots and now they're in a rhythm, and then they're automatically out of the game just based on the rotations because everybody has to get their minutes. Everybody has to get in. Like you're not gonna play these guys that you're paying all this money, and it can become a little bit of a problem. I think it's really going to be a problem when it gets to playoffs, and every single team shrinks their bench come playoffs because you want your best players on the floor. You want the people who are going to make the correct decisions, be in the right spots at the right time. The guys who are playing the best, that's who you're going to play. No coach that I know of in the history of the league has gone into the playoffs and gone 10, 11, 12 players deep and actually won anything. I just can't remember it. And when I say 10, 11, 12 deep, I'm talking about actually getting minutes. I'm not talking about a guy getting 2 or 3 minutes here, some spot minutes. I'm talking about legitimate minutes. It just doesn't happen. come playoffs time, you're going to want your stars to play as much as they can. You want Kawhi at 35 minutes, 36 minutes. You want Paul George pushing 40 minutes. You want whoever their starting point guard is going to be pushing 30 minutes. You want them to get a good feel for the game as the game is going on, but you can't really do that if you're playing 20 minutes. So I'm very interested to see kind of how this plays out for the rest of the season, because at some point Ty Lue is going to have to shorten that bench. I mean, he's going to have to shorten that bench, and some people aren't going to play. You're probably going to get DNPs, and you're not used to getting DNPs on this team. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I don't think they're in trouble yet, but I am, looking at it closely. I'll probably revisit it closer to like 15 games in the season, and really try to reassess it from there. I think that's really when you get a feel of where the season is seriously headed. It's around like 15 to 20 games. But until then, man, I appreciate y'all for watching. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to leave a like. Until next time, appreciate you.